Hey y'all, coming back to y'all with a message per usual. So I was thinking really quick, I'm about to go walk on this track, but I was like, you know what? A thought popped into my mind. Right now in the space that I am with how I'm doing my podcast, right? The funniest thing about how God has led me to change my podcast on reporting on current events, because it's what draws people in, but taking it back to the word and the scripture in the Bible is how he's going to get them to pivot if they need to. I realize you are going to get some very harsh critics with that type of direction. And the reason why I say that is because since I've started talking about a lot of hard things that the average person doesn't feel comfortable discussing, even if they agree, is because they don't want to be attacked by man. They shy away from it, but I walk toward it. Once God started showing me exactly what type of power and authority my voice had, I've always had a strong opinion and a strong voice, but I used to be one of those people that just kind of treaded lightly over certain topics because I didn't want to ruffle feathers. Now I love ruffling feathers, because one thing about me is, while I am not going to contend with man, I can if I ever need to. And at the end of the day, I've learned a very valuable lesson in the season that I'm in. God will always fight my battles. And the way that he fights your battles, when you start speaking a truth that convicts people's spirits, is he'll start putting guilt within them. He'll start putting a lot of things within them to make them feel like maybe I need to second guess how I feel toward this accusation or toward this thing that this person is saying that I don't technically like, but I know it's convicting to my spirit. My loves, one thing about me that's always going to be 110 toes down to the ground is when I listen to pastors or even prophets on different parts of my media that I actually subscribe to, that God showed me are not false prophets and pastors, I really do sometimes feel convicted by the things that they say. And maybe as it relates to procrastination, maybe sometimes as it relates to the way I might lack in certain areas that I still need to fine tune or be better at. But you know what my conviction does for me? My conviction makes me feel like there's something I need to do to change. God used this person as a vessel to communicate a message that they didn't even know I needed to hear, but they allowed themselves to be open enough and vulnerable enough and obedient enough to deliver. And then that attacked my spirit in a really great way, because now I'm going to try better at what I'm doing wrong. I never let someone's message make me feel like, because I know there's an insecurity there, or I know there's room for growth, room for improvement, to make me feel like I need to pivot away from this person and the things that they're saying, because I don't feel attacked by man when someone says something that convicts my spirit. I know God is trying to show something to me. And sometimes when God can't get through us directly himself, he'll use other vessels that he put in place and appointed to make you see yourself in a way that if a person that doesn't even know you is speaking to something in you, that has to be God. That has to be God. Who else could it be? This person doesn't know you from a can of paint, or this person doesn't know what you're going through or what you're feeling deep down on the inside, but God does. And he will use his people to speak to things that you need to look further into, to pivot away from whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is that you're subscribing to. So I watched a video on YouTube the other day, and the young lady actually spoke to something I was feeling in my spirit based on the trajectory of my podcast. And she's another podcaster that speaks the bold truth that sometimes a lot of people get offended by. And she said, you know what I had to understand? She said, I was getting so frustrated and upset with God because it feels like everybody's attacking me about the things that God is telling me and pouring into my spirit to share out. And I asked God, why are you having me do these things and communicate these things? Because these people are coming for me. And she said in that moment, and I received that message, she said, God spoke to her and he said, number one, you don't respond to man. You don't have to give validation to any man about what I download in your spirit to share out. The level of obedience is what I'm watching. I'm not watching what your fellow man is saying, because guess what? Man can't judge you. I can. And when you have to bear your cross and judgment day comes, you answer to me, not man. So you don't owe anybody an opinion that differs in agreement or opinion of what it is that you're saying. If they don't like what you're saying, they need to test the fruit of your words and come to me and bring it back. And then I will give them the revelation they need so that they can deal with me directly. So you're just the messenger. So don't get caught up in what this man is saying. Don't argue in the comments with people. Don't internalize the things that they're saying, because they're not coming from a place of how they naturally feel. It's a spirit within them that feels attacked by the spirit in you that's authored and appointed by me, that is making them feel a way about whatever it is that they're lacking in, whatever it is that they're doing wrong. And because their spirit is convicted, you are the attack. Because you are communicating words that were sent from me, but they're taking their frustrations out on you. That is called projection. You ignore projection. You allow me to deal with my own people. So my loves, what I'm saying all this to say is, if you're a person that speaks the bold and honest truth, respectfully, and you deliver a message that God has told you to deliver, download it in your spirit, and people are against what you're saying or they're attacking you, don't internalize and don't personalize the experience to you per se. Their spirit is taxed by what you're delivering, because as the messenger, you're attacking whatever it is that they're lacking. God authored your rhetoric. He downloaded in your spirit to share. So don't worry about what man feels or how they receive or perceive what it is that you're saying. You let them deal with God. You continue being an obedient vessel and helping God's people that are open vessels that will take what your messages are, download them, and then do the right thing moving forward. This message was for someone. Talk to you guys soon.